I press record on this every time, I always wish I had one of those little Hollywood snappers that goes 3, 2, 1, action. Matty Mainwaring, action. Poof. Lights on, under the spotlight. It's you up there.
Speed, action, cameras on, cameras off, all that stuff. Yeah.
Matty Mainwaring, the busiest man on the planet. Welcome back to the show. We have missed you the last few weeks, mate. Dicko's all right. But we've not had Matty Mainwaring. I've missed you, mate. How have you been?
Yeah, I've missed you too, mate. Dicko's all right. That's the biggest understatement I've ever heard, mate. He's the biggest living legend there is. Yeah, no, good to be back, mate. I've been mega busy. I've started a new role, which is sort of been doing sort of days and nights, so I've not had a chance to think. I've tried to follow footy best I can. I've seen results, but that's about it, really. Tuned in, when I've got in bed at night, I've tuned into Twitter and what's been going on and all that stuff, but I've not really had a minute to myself, to be honest. But good to be back.
You've not missed much with County?
Not missed much, yeah.
Yeah. Understatement. Unbelievable, mate. Absolutely unbelievable at the minute. 6 wins on the spin, 2 goals conceded, sellout crowd after sellout crowd after sellout crowd, bouncing local derbies against Altrincham, 2 in quick succession, albeit with a bit of a buffer in the middle. I'm just going to say it, mate, and I'm sorry if people say don't jinx it. We're going to win the league. Like, we are flying.
Yeah, you know what, mate? It's hard to argue with that at the moment. I mean, it's a big statement. But the main thing for me out of that, what you've just said, is the 2 goals conceded. That is massive, because you can win games 3-2, 4-3, 5-4, 2-1, and and managers, good managers, will still look at that and think, we're still conceding. When we're not conceding or barely conceding and banging him in at the other end, like the Alton game, 4-1 or whatever. And it's encouraging, it really is. And don't want to jump the gun. I really don't, but we're in that conversation. What are we? Are we 5-6 points clear? 5-6 points behind, sorry.
Well, we are. We're 5 points behind, but with a game in hand.
We've got a game in hand, but Boreham Wood have got 2 on us, haven't they?
Boreham Wood. So I'll get the table up here, just so we're absolutely sort of on the money. County 3rd, Chesterfield 2nd, Halifax 1st. This is Thursday night, so if people are watching, I don't know, late, then obviously. But as we are at the moment. Yeah, Halifax on 47, Chesterfield on 46, County on 42. Yeah. But County and Chesterfield have only played 22. So, listen, Chesterfield, I don't think Chesterfield at this moment are sitting too comfortably. A bit of a patchy run of form, you've got to say. 2 losses and a draw in the last 5. Halifax, don't get me wrong, good team. Again, good unbeaten run like County. But they're not going to be sitting comfortably up there. I think if you ask them, of course they'll be confident, of course they'll back themselves, and they've got Matty Warburton, who's just won Player of the Month, absolutely firing on all cylinders. We know Matty only too well, lovely guy, but he's there to do a job for Halifax, and he's doing that at the minute. But with the run County are on, with Dave Challoner come back in, he's brought in a couple of defensive additions as well. You know what a kind of a manager Dave Challoner is. He won promotion last season from this division. He knows it. Mate, I can't help myself. It's happening again. It's happening.
Yeah, you sound excited there, mate. You know what it is? Yeah, it is, and it's very difficult to stop a team or to halt a team that's got momentum. I think Leicester's a prime example. They wasn't the best side in the league when they won the Premier League, but they had momentum. They had, it was like a snowball. It was just picking up and picking up and picking up. Now we've got both. I would argue we're talent-wise, top 2 or 3 in our division, in the top 3, top 2, maybe even top of the pile. But on top of that, we're smashing goals away. We've got momentum. We've got sellout crowds every week. We've got players back in the fold like Conor Jennings, who are also starting to do what they do best, banging goals in. Paddy Madden, other players, defensively look good. So it's really encouraging, and I think if we can, the tricky bit now is going to be carrying that right through. We want to get in a comfortable playoff spot where we're about to, kick on to an automatic spot, get into that, and then it's just a case of hanging on.
I would say, just to set the record straight, Boreham Wood, obviously, a couple of games in hand on us as well. So obviously that could change. The thing that I sort of agree with, but sort of want to put back to you on what you're just saying, is I said this to Dicko last week. When we did the Legend Series interviews with players from the playoff season, with players from the 90s, all those successful squads. Jim said it many times in the interviews that we did with Jim over the years. The thing that they said was, it's not arrogance, but it's just the comfort and the knowledge that you just know you're going to win. You just know, like, so it doesn't feel like we're scraping wins and we've got to hang on to this run of form. We say we only conceded 2 goals in the last 6. If my maths is correct, 3, 6, 10, 11, 16. We've scored 20 goals in that time. Now, that's a run of form that's not just, oh, you're on a bit of a bounce. That's your squad is better than those around them. And yeah, there's going to be tests. I'm sure when we come to play Boreham Wood and Chesterfield and Halifax, yeah, of course it's probably, it might be a closer game, and we're probably going to lose a game or 2 between now and the end of the season. But that air of the knowledge you're just going to win, even if you're 1-0 down with 10 minutes left, you just know you're going to win. I can't explain it. I feel like when I watch us play now, and I feel the energy in the stands and around the fans around us, I just feel like we're going to win. I can't tell you what it is. When we went behind at the playoffs in the final against Rochdale, I wasn't worried. You just knew. It's like that again.
Yeah. I agree. It feels as though it's meant to be. And I think if I was to compare us at the moment, this is a big comparison, but it's the same feeling you get, say, a United treble winning side, where I don't know what, not comparing, but
yeah, they're not as good as that.
Yeah,
United were not as good as that. I get what you're saying.
You go behind and you think there's enough quality in the side to pull this back. With half an hour left, 1-0 down, we'll pull it back. Nobody's worried. And I know what you're saying. I agree totally. More, and I think the important thing is we've done this over a Christmas period, the hardest period of the season, to do it over, because nothing can be done. Transfers and all this stuff, and until you're waiting for the transfer window to open, that sort of thing. So we've done it over a tough period. Every club I've been involved in, clubs have always been depleted over Christmas. You get cold weather, you pick up knocks, injuries, you bring a few youth kids in on the bench. We've got a strong squad in depth, and it's been utilised. The other thing is the thing we always speak about at the home games. You'd fancy us against anyone at home. Now, whether we've gone behind or not, you think as soon as we turn and face that full Cheadle end, there's going to be a couple of goals in this half for us. And getting back to what you said about Halifax, Boreham Wood, Chesterfield, we've all got to play each other still. So, you only have to win 1 or 2 of those, and you sort of, leapfrog in the table, and you're on your way then. And then you've got more momentum, you've got more confidence, and all of a sudden you become the side to beat in the division. Now, I think we are that anyway now. Just need to cap it.
Other teams, with all due respect to them, especially Boreham Wood, who were one of the weirdest clubs I've ever been to, by the way. the way that their attitude to media and things is just a bit odd. But anyway, the way that they don't have a Cheadle end, so to speak, it gives me confidence. Given that, okay, let's say Boreham Wood come to County, or the next time we play them, and they win 1-0, and you think, oh, all right, they take that bit of momentum, but they're going to lose a game again this season, and they're going to wobble at some point. Whereas if County take a loss, which again I'm sure they will, you look at the things that they've got around you to nudge you back into that momentum lane. Yes, Cheadle end is one. Dave Challoner, you've got to say, is another. The fact that he's come in and he's just absolutely grabbed it by the scruff of the neck and he's brought it bang up into shape. What we had, it goes to show under Jim and under Simon, we had the squad there. We had everything. We had all the ingredients, so to speak. It wasn't clicking under Simon. Now it is. And it's backfiring again. We've also got the unbelievable positivity that having Conor Jennings back playing will. And I'm not saying that because he's a good player, which he obviously is. He's a great player. But the fact that he's come back from what he's come back from and had everyone rally around him, and he's coming back and he's getting goals again. Things like that. If you take a hit, you need things around you to get you back into the winning lane. And I just think those three things, plus all the usual stuff, lads, momentum, camaraderie, all that. I'm just, it's the perfect storm. If you're Chesterfield, Halifax, Bournemouth, you would not fancy coming to Edgeley Park right now. No way. It doesn't matter if you're above us in the table by 2 points or whatever. Don't fancy that.
No, absolutely not. And if you're Chesterfield, Bournemouth, the other clubs, your bum's twitching, isn't it? You know, we're creeping up behind those top places. And getting back to Conor Jennings as well, I agree. I mean, not just a great player, but a great lad. And it's so good to see him doing well. You know, he's such a top lad. We got on really well, me and Conor, back in the day, and we still do. You know, don't see much of him, but we're still good friends. And he is the inspirational story for the rest of the lads. And you know, I'll be honest. If I wish my chapter there is said and done, but I wish, you know, I was involved at this time, because I've got a real good feeling. I wish I was a part of this. It'd be lovely.
Yeah, mate. I wish you were. Like, what I remember watching Matty Mainwaring. You know, watching you play was something special. That's why it's always been an honour to have you on the show. But
oh, mate, very kind of you.
I want to ask you about Conor. I know that you're friends with him and James. And have you spoken? When was the last time you spoke to Conor? Did you speak to him through any of his journey of the last year or so?
Yeah, so I dropped Conor a message here and there on social media and stuff, you know, just to get behind him, let him know that I'm behind him. And to be honest, I wasn't the only one. There was hundreds of people. So yeah, I've kept in touch on that respect. Kept an eye on his progress. And when I found out that he was back in the fold, and when he first made that appearance as a sub, I think it was wicked. And then now to hear that he's banging them in, see that he's banging them in, it's he's only going to go from strength to strength, because there isn't a bigger battle that you can overcome, is there? So, you know, it's gonna fuel him.
The uncertainty that he must have faced when you first get told that.
I know.
You know, you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy. And
no.
the fact that he's doing what he's doing is,
and he's back out on the field.
And it's a testament to him, because how many people, and again, this is not placing any blame for anyone. A lot of people would wrap themselves in cotton wool, you know, and not want to take on any challenge, and I can completely understand why they would. But Conor's just, you know, come out swinging and knocked it out, you know, Mike Tyson style.
Yeah,
come out, and so that's amazing.
That's Conor's character, though. He plays that way as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, of course.
He plays football that way. He does.
Yeah.
No nonsense.
You always used to see him on the pitch, and you still do. Should I say? You see him out there, and he's one of the loudest out there, and the young players want to learn from him. The experienced heads, you know, the Scott Quigleys, the John Rooneys, you know, that's the level that they come to expect when they come to county, because obviously they come from a higher level. They've come to expect that, like, I need consummate professionals there, and that's what he is.
Yeah.
I want to move us on to something that put on Twitter this week, which we could do a whole 2-hour show on, but we won't. Or maybe we will. Who knows? Let me tell you how it started. I've left it in the other room. I should have brought it through. I got the Marco van Basten autobiography signed as well. So that's always a nice little bonus. And I'm reading it. I mean, and my 5-year-old comes over and he asked me what I'm reading. So I showed him and I said, he's a football player. He scored this goal, showed him the goal on YouTube. And he's like amazed, like, oh, that's a great goal. Part of me couldn't help but think he was just feeding off me, going, look how good this is. That got me showing him some of my favourite goals ever. Not just county, but also county. I still think the Stephen Gleeson strike is the best thing I've ever seen, ever. But, you know, things like the Van Persie header in the World Cup, unbelievable goal. And some of the replies we had on Twitter were amazing. But I'm going to put you on the spot and just say some of your favourites of all time.
County or world football?
Both.
Start with county. It's hard to argue with Gleeson's, isn't it? Gleeson's hold its own on any stage.
Yeah.
What a strike! Unbelievable. Dicko's was an exceptional goal as well against Wickham. And I think you judge a goal on two things. I think one, or at least I do, one, the difficulty level, the talent that's required, and the audacity, and then two is the stage. So it might not necessarily be a spectacular goal, but it's just once again a great player stepped up to the plate. Ronaldo's made a career on it. Yeah, Gleeson, Dicko, Tansies against Northampton was special. Danny Pilks against Brighton was special. Vinny's against Hartlepool was special. These are just in my era, really. I'm trying to think who else. Anthony Pilks got a few good ones. Yeah, I mean they're the ones that stand out to me.
I remember Glenn Rule scoring an unbelievable goal for County, and it's one of those where the hardcore fans that that were there with us when when things weren't so good on the pitch and things weren't so great at the club, they remember that goal and they see it. But unfortunately for Glenn, and nothing against him, it will just never sit in that category of Gleeson because, like you say, the occasion wasn't the same.
Stage, yeah.
Match wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Unbelievable strike, not taking anything away from it. So I do agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah.
And it's, sometimes obviously it is hard to compare a free kick against a volley, against a tap, but where you've taken it round the whole team. I remember we went to a Barcelona game for my brother's stag do, probably 10 years ago, maybe a bit less, 9 years ago, something like that. And Messi took a free kick right in front of us. We were right behind the goal. Messi took a free kick. And I probably still got the video somewhere.
Yeah,
and,
video.
Yeah. On my phone.
Cassette. Yeah.
And so we're sitting behind the goal. Messi runs up, and just as he's about to strike it, there's silence around us. Just as he's about to strike the ball, just as his foot's about to connect with it, my brother, top of his voice, Tanzi! Obviously, the ball screams into the back of the net. Barcelona fans have got no idea what's going on. Us lot are going absolutely nuts. It was one of the best things ever. Greg Tanzi, he knew how to strike a ball, mate.
Yeah, he had a great right foot. Great technique, Beckham style. He did. Natural technique, I think, because he wasn't the most powerful player, but he had a powerful right foot because of his technique, I think. Yeah. No, it's very difficult to pinpoint. There's so many great goals in my 31 years. I mean, my favourite, my personal favourite is, and my dad knows this because I bang on about it all the time. It was Zidane's with his left foot where he plucked it out of the sky via Leverkusen. It's just because of the difficulty level and the stage, the two things combined.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. And I think the best I've ever seen, and it's going to sound crazy, but the best I've ever seen is Dean Windash's goal against Hull, if you remember, against Wickham for Hull. You ever seen that? Have a look on YouTube.
I will.
No, there's no real stage, but the difficulty level I think a keeper kicks it out of his hands. He pins a centre back. I think he brings it down his chest with the centre back behind him. We all know how hard that is to do because they're so strong these days. Onto his thigh, and this is miles out, 35, maybe even 40 yards out. Flicks it over the defender's head and just takes it on the volley first goal. All off a goal kick or a keeper's kick. I've never seen anything like it. But my favourite player in world football was Thierry Henry, and I give you 10 that he scored. Where I just think I've never seen anyone do that.
The one against Barthez is.
Yeah, I think that was the one where he pinned Irving, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Someone wrapped it into his foot because we all, know how strong these defenders are. Pinned him, flicked it up like he was a little boy, turned around and just volley top bin.
I think one of my favourite players of all time. I could sit there and tell you my favourite players of all time, but I think one of my favourite, and I think that does play into it. When you talk about best goals ever, if you have an affinity with that player, even if it's just because you like him, that sort of plays into it. And for me, it's Henry's old partner in crime, if you like, Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah,
arguably the best striker the Premier League's ever seen, certainly up there. And the goal against Newcastle, where he's bent the laws of physics to put it the inside of his foot, spinning outwards around the defender and meet it on the other side, is unreal.
Natural God-given talent, that, yeah.
But then, an unbelievable piece of wizardry versus Newcastle against Newcastle versus Chelsea a few years later, where Demba Ba has put it onto level infinity and just put his foot straight through it.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, just some swaz. Yeah, there's a million in there. Ronaldo scored umpteen brilliant goals. Great play. Beckham scored some brilliant goals. Giggs' run against Arsenal. Messi's 1,000 runs against whoever. It's very difficult to. But again, they're all different, aren't they? You see certain goals. I think as an ex-player, his goals on TV, I think, what a goal that wasn't. It's nothing that'll jump out at the average sort of armchair fan, but you think that is so difficult to do. It might just be a header that's looped back across goal right in the top bin that's lobbed the keeper who's got his angles perfect. It's so difficult, or someone a snapshot with a bad foot or something, bottom bin. It's just difficult at level. You think to yourself, could I have done that? It'd be difficult, and they make it look easy. It's tough.
Yeah, just my final one, the Van Persie header. You talk about stage. It's the World Cup.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the World Cup is supposed to produce moments like that.
Yeah.
That header is just ridiculous. But yeah,
the Vincent Kompany one to win the league as well. Do you remember that one?
Where he's just levered it.
He was retiring, it was his last game. Yeah.
Was that his last game?
I think it was his last game. I think that's what made it all the more special. Don't quote me, but I'm sure it was. Yeah. Or maybe last season. Yeah, the last season that was the league winning goal. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah, he's one of those where you think, yeah, I could sit here.
You know what though, Chris? Funnily enough, I grew up banging. I knew where the net was right up until turning pro under Jim Gannon. I scored all my life, spectacular goals like that, miles out. I've got footage of me doing it as a 6-year-old. But as a pro, you've got a job to do, and I ended up a holding midfielder or a sort of a ball playing midfielder. You do what's required to. You do your job in the team, not you're a cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
But that's not to say I don't appreciate them great goals. It's marvelous to watch.
Would you rather score an unbelievable world-class goal? You can replicate whoever's you want. Bergkamp's against Newcastle, Henry's against whatever. Score an unbelievable goal like that in an empty stadium.
Yeah.
Or score a bang average goal in the last minute in front of the Cheadle end.
Bang average goal in the last minute. Yeah.
And have that
Yeah. Do you know what? I'll tell you something. It's going to sound crazy, but talking to my dad earlier. Do you remember James Vincent's goal for Inverness in the Scottish Cup final?
No.
Have a look at that on YouTube. I still watch that randomly to this day when I need a pick me up or when I want a euphoric feeling. Like Vinny comes on as a sub in the Scottish Cup final. I can't remember who they were playing. I think it was Inverness who they were playing against, but comes on as a sub. I think it's dead level, I think, and they break. And Vinny with the energy. He's bombing. He don't even come into the screen. The following is 1v1, and he just comes in at the last second. The guy has a shot. I'm not sure who it is. The keeper powers out, and Vinny bangs it in. Got the winner at Hampden, full stadium. That's just a tapping, but he'll take that with him. He's got that forever. That's what footy's all about, and I still watch that now. I watched it the other day. I just typed it in on YouTube and wanted to watch it because that's just so special to me. That.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
And it's not even me. Do you know what I mean? It's not even.
I'm gonna have to see it because I like Vinny as well. The one that's just sprung back into my head, and this is something, a different factor that makes it, and obviously maybe I should say this given the role that I play with in the sport, is sometimes the commentators make it.
That's a massive part of it. Massive part of it.
The big one of obviously recent years is Aguero, but the one that springs to my mind is when County played City, and won, and when Carlton Palmer won that ball, played it forward. X, Y, and Z happens, and then Hardiker scores the winner, and it's the way the commentator's voice breaks.
Yeah.
And Hardiker has scored. If you listen to it back, it just it encapsulates. I remember just losing my head when that happened.
Yeah.
Right? Just nothing else in the world mattered at all, and the fact that his voice breaks at that moment is perfect.
Yeah.
So maybe on that merit, I have to put that in there as well.
Of course, you can say the same about United's treble winning. Those I could tell you word for word. The commentary for the last 2 or 3 minutes. I could tell you word for word the commentary for Giggs' goal via Arsenal off Andy Gray. It's just because that's the bit that stays with you.
Yeah.
The bit that makes it special. Yeah. Without the commentary, it wouldn't quite be the same. Wouldn't you? Just get a big roar off the crowd, which is great if you're live, but if you're not live, you need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I score some absolute worldies at 6-a-side on a Sunday night, but
Power League.
It goes largely unreported, mate.
No head out.
No, we're allowed. We're playing at this new one in Reddish.
Yeah.
If you ever want a game,
you know what, mate? I'll drag you down. I'll be honest. I'll drag you down.
No, John, I'm not.
I'll drag the standard down.
Mate,
A good 5 minutes in me.
You have not seen the standard. Listen. The next few weeks is going to be challenging for shows. We'll try and get them on. I think I'm going to be at a various different array of places for boxing, so we might see some weird and wonderful backgrounds.
Hotel backgrounds.
Hotel backgrounds. Where was the one the other week? Was it Wembley, where there was? I tried to open the curtain just before I went on air just to get some light, and just a wall behind.
I'm surprised you get a signal.
Yeah, weird. Very, very weird.
Sometimes I think, how do you get a signal in all these different places in the country?
Right. The show must go on, as they say.
Yeah, that's it. 4G, 5G, and 6G. Yeah.
Listen, mate, it's been a pleasure as ever.
Yeah, class, mate.
To have you back.
Pleasure, mate.
Look
Class.
forward to doing the show. By the way, while Dicko's not here, I seen a prank which I will send to you, and I'll send to you. I know I shouldn't be saying this. No one tag him in this, basically. If you're watching it now, I seen a prank online the other day that I thought was quite funny, and I'm going to send it to you in a moment. And I think we could do this on Dicko. We'll try it this week, and we'll play it on air to him. Hopefully next week when he gets it back on.
He's going to watch this, though. I think he's going to watch this.
Yeah, he's got a busy week in his.
Let's hope he has.
He's not here, so
yeah.
Although it'd be a good way to find out of it, we'll message him after and say, "What did you show, Dicko? Oh, lovely, mate, loved it, yeah."
Yeah.
Matty Mainwaring, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on every single week.
Top man, pleasure to be on, mate. Cheers.
Tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Top man.